What's going on out there, Culture Junkie Nation? Welcome into Culture Junkies Live. Today's episode is going to be all about the PlayStation State of Play, on top of a few other things. Obviously, as you can see, joining me on the show today, as always, is my good friend Simon Says, Great Daddy Kuji, and GQ, the Ghost of Michigan. What is going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
Here.
You're here.
Power up.
I heard you. Bonus points to anybody back there that can notify the game. More Nightmare. What's up to you? What's up to Amarak over on the Twitch chat? And hello to all of our friends checking us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Kick as well. So guys, anything happen over the weekend? Anything new? GQ, I see you rocking. See that nice Moon Knight hot toys over there sitting in the background. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, he's there waiting for a spot to open up so I can put him in the normal display. Probably gonna go through and remove some older stuff, put some newer stuff in there. So yeah, he gets the spot for right now.
Oh, that's cool. I feel you.
Yeah.
Switch.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, basically.
So real quick before we get to the main stuff. So quick news and notes, stuff that's happening in the genre space right now, video games wise. GQ touched on Indicting the Future just before we went live. Terry Bogard has been released on Street Fighter 6, as well as the expansion for Mortal Kombat 1 containing new Cybot has come out. Played them? Got any reactions to them? What's going on?
I played Terry so far. I mean, obviously the Mortal Kombat expansion was like almost an 80 gig update. So
Jeez,
I mean, I already did it, but it's like
Still though.
again, it's basically a whole new game. Maybe I'll say that. But I haven't messed with the Mortal Kombat just yet. And then Heihachi, funny enough, the early access for Heihachi is going to be on my birthday. So I'll probably be messing with that. Yeah, so I'll probably be messing with that for that's coming up next week.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot. Oh, go ahead.
No, and then isn't the actual full access on the 4th? Because I know
like like 3 days later, I think the 3rd or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. He actually looks interesting, but I mean, he's probably going to basically, as far as I saw in his gameplay trailer, it's him the way he was in 7, just a couple of enhanced moves. It seems like it'd probably be fun, but yeah, realistically, I'll probably spend a little bit more time with Terry Bogard because he's actually pretty cool. I ran through his world tour chapter, so it's a lot of fun.
Now that what's neat about that, right? Because I saw somebody posted a video on social media about how when Terry ran across Ken, he was like, Ken Masters? He's like, what? It's been like 20 years, hasn't it, since we've seen each other? I thought that was pretty neat, making Capcom versus SNK canon, which was I thought that was dope.
Yeah. And then cool, and then I guess light spoilers, you do run into Joe Higashi and Blue Mary as well.
Oh, nice.
So they're really leaning into that crossover aspect of it.
So
that's cool.
I love it. And it makes you want to get another Capcom vs SNK 3.
But
yeah,
is it something the fans won't know? That's the thing.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, the fans want it.
Now see, okay, so Capcom vs SNK 2 still to this day is considered one of the best fighting games, probably even the top 10, I think, in most fans' lexicon of fighting games. And it was very good, very well received, very balanced. I thought
it was probably one of the best balanced.
Yeah, if we keep it in the buck, it was extremely balanced. So,
well, if you're not doing that role canceling bullshit,
right?
Yeah,
right.
They could definitely do it. I mean, they've got the other collection coming out, which is the Versus collection, not the Marvel Versus, but the Capcom Fighting collection and all that. I think that's going to probably give them a good gauge of like, hey, people are still interested in this. Let's go ahead and see if we can approach SNK and do another one, because why not? There's no reason for them not to. King of Fighters, as it sits, is doesn't have as much stroke as it used to have. Let's be 100% honest about that.
Yeah.
King of Fighters 13 was great. 15 was pretty decent, but like King of Fighters is not what it used to be. So they could definitely use the
rub.
Exactly. They could definitely use the rub and the help for their brand.
Catching up to some of the chat. Andrew J. Morton saying he needs that new crossover. Says what's up. Marcus A64 is also in the chat saying what's up to everybody. He just also re-upped his sub and 45 months and nice clip in there. A nice little clip in there with his subscription message saying the 45 that everyone likes, because
Good.
there is a 45 that not everyone likes in this country.
Nice.
So shout out to you, sir. Thank you for the continued support. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Minority Games. That's a good one. Power Stone. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are looking forward to that.
So okay,
it was great.
Wait, are they looking? So they're looking forward to it in the collection? Is
a lot of people are looking for those collections big time because that was the heyday of Capcom. Like Capcom is, they're still around and still doing their thing, but you don't hear people talking about Street Fighter 4 or 5 or even 6 like they talk about the stuff that came out in the early 2000s. It's not.
Beautiful Joe. What is it? 2000s. You can't really. I don't know. Certain games. What is it? Automata Lisa was pretty good.
Yeah.
So you remember that one?
Definitely remember.
So, and seeing how this is a very game centric conversation, and Marcus A64, I think is it just Power Stone? Is it both of them that's in that collection, or is it just one?
You get both of them?
Okay, so
cool.
It's getting a re-release, yes, but since this is a very game centric topic and game centric conversation, right? Speaking to that and touching a little bit on a little pre-show convo that we had with Simon Says, IPs that have been languishing and probably need to come back, right? So is Capcom's problem in today's day and age is that most of their IPs are very arcade centric and makes it a little bit harder to make newer iterations of those games that are more. That's
not the problem.
Okay.
The problem is with a lot of companies nowadays, they only do what works, do what makes them money, and everything that's coming back is things that were super popular. They're doing those collections and whatnot. They on the State of Play they did Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is hugely popular. Dead Rising just got remastered or remade again. Like this is the second time. Capcom is notorious. Yeah, I mean, it looks good, but Capcom is notorious for not stepping out on ledges. Nobody does anymore. Only people, I shouldn't say nobody. The indie developers step out on ledges. Every once in a while, you see them take a leap, like the big names, they'll take a leap, but everybody starts poo-pooing on it. No matter how good the game is, they'll poo-poo on it because it's not what they wanted, or it has a female in it, or some other bullshit.
Oh God, not that argument.
Yeah. So and it's just it's nobody takes any chances anymore, and that's the biggest issue. Like you can go countless name games that came out that were new and different styles of play. Like the Plucky Squire, you don't hear anybody talking about that. I want that game, and the only reason I have not bought it is I want a physical copy. Physical copy doesn't come out till February. Digital is out now. That's the only reason why I haven't bought it now. But I would have bought it day one because it's something I've never seen before. It's a game that takes place in a storybook that starts out looking like a Zelda game, and then you get thrown out of the storybook and it turns to like a 3D game with like, I mean, the game looks amazing, but you don't hear anybody talking about it. It's just Capcom is especially, like I said, they will not step out on a limb. I'm surprised we got as many Mega Man games as we did because I found out that they say Mega Man doesn't make them any money. I'm surprised by that because Mega Man is super popular. There's 11 mainstream games, 8 X games. I don't know how many Battle Network games. I don't know how many like other
Zero.
Oh yeah,
Zero. Hell, Onimusha. Andrew J. Morton said Onimusha reboot. Where's that at?
Exactly. Where's the Dino Crisis? Where's the Onimusha? Where's like
is Okami?
Because it didn't make him much money.
Is
Okami's
Okami Capcom? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Okami.
they re-released
Yeah.
that on that got
They
re-released
sure
on the
did.
Switch
No, I know they did.
and
I
probably
know they did.
PlayStation 4. But there's tons
Look.
like Beautiful Joe. People been clamoring for a new Beautiful Joe or a remake or a collection or something like that. God Hand was Capcom, and people shit on God Hand.
It
but now
wasn't
they want to
bad.
pay it. No, God Hand is not bad.
It
It is a
wasn't
little
bad.
hard, but once you start, you get into the groove. If you're a
Yeah.
real gamer, you fucking, and when I say real gamer, I'm talking about you don't let the fucking intricacies of anything stop you.
Mhm.
I thought you was. I literally thought you was about to do some gatekeepery stuff again, like say,
No, I'm not
real
doing gatekeeper. I
gamer.
think what I mean is that you should be able to play the games, and you don't fucking like this.
Complain
like there's
that it's too hard.
Yeah, about the too hard thing. It's just like my whole thing when it comes to too hard games. I personally have played hard games. I've never played anything that's too hard, and nothing that has stopped me. You guys know I played a Binding of Isaac. Now I'm not as good as some of these people out there because I don't sink as many hours into it as I want to. The Binding of Isaac is probably one of the hardest games I've ever played, and I have beaten the game with every check mark for at least 4 or 5 characters, and there's 34 characters in the game.
True.
And so if I continue going, I'll get them all.
So answer the question, Sharita Jackson's question, is it on Switch?
If I remember correctly, Okami did get the Okama, the Wolf game.
Okami. Yes, Okami.
Yeah, Okami. So
yeah,
Okami.
I think it got re-released on the Switch. I can verify that. Okama.
But if you think about it,
go ahead.
If you think about it, when people complain about the games being hard, think about what they did with Devil May Cry 2. They dumbed that shit down. They dumbed that shit down to it's like, yeah, man. And then the people complain about it. It's too easy. It's like, oh, which one do you want? You wanted hard.
And then they went back to the hard for Devil May Cry 3.
And
I was so disappointed with 2. Look, I was so disappointed with 2. I bought 3. I haven't played it. I ain't played 3. I mean, I played it for like 2 seconds. Played 4 for 2 seconds. I ain't played 5. Got the remake. And I still want to go back and play them. I mean, don't get me wrong, but 2 hurt right here.
Hurt your soul.
Yeah. I think the problem with 2 was like the first one you had to think, you had to do the puzzle aspect. You know, it had some difficult moments or whatnot. 2, you could literally run through 2 just by shooting everything. Like you literally didn't have to like do any sword play. The other girl, Lucia, had a move where she would jump and just kind of like constantly spin and spiral. You could beat pretty much every boss by not really engaging and fighting the boss. You could just basically back up and constantly shoot. And I'm like, that's not my money's worth. To me, hard games give me my money's worth. I want a game that I can't beat in one sitting, like just sit down and just binge it and play it and kill it in one night. I need games that are like, look, this is hard. This is going to challenge you. You got to stop for a minute and go sit down and think about how am I going to approach this so I can beat this boss. I like games that bring that out of it, because otherwise, like, why am I giving you $80 or $70 or whatever it costs to get a game
if I'm going
to beat it in one day?
Isn't that also part of the problem too? Is like that I was saying, like the companies only want to invest in games that are going to make them money. So maybe they should lower, right? Because it seems like all you ever see is AAA games, unless it's coming from an indie developer. All you see is like this high budget, high expensive, takes a 3 or 4 years of development, maybe even 5 or 6 years of development, AAA game, instead of making something that you can release, that people can buy on the cheap, have fun with, put down, and move on to that. There's too many AAA releases coming out in a single year. That's
too many microtransaction games. That's what it is,
bro. Let's not even get started on that. Like, that's a
that's
whole other discussion right there. 2K, anybody? Madden, anybody?
But that's also the catch-22. These game companies have to make money. These games are getting more and more expensive to make anyway, so they got to have a good return on their investment. To Sharita's point, she says not Okami. She was asking about the storybook game.
Yeah, the Plucky Squire. It's on the Switch. You can get it digitally right now if you want to. If you've not seen videos of that game, look at it. It looks friggin' amazing. And like I said, I'm waiting for a physical copy because that's what I want.
All right. So the other things we got to talk about the Thunderbolts trailer, but we'll talk about that later on in the show. Let's get to talking about PlayStation State of Play that just happened yesterday. So Obviously, the biggest news coming out of there was the Ghost of Tsushima sequel, Ghost of Yotei, that got all the incels and the neckbeards up in arms about the female protagonist. I don't give a shit about that. We can talk about that a little bit later. Let's talk about some of the other games that they talked about first. Then we'll come back to Ghost of Yotei. First, let's talk about this Legacy of Kain HD remake that they're doing now. Legacy of Kain, for those of you that don't know, was an early 2000s game that came out on PC first, then was ported to PlayStation.
No.
Oh no, literally the release was it came out on PC first, then came out on PlayStation. Legacy of Kain, I looked it up. It came out on PC first, then was PlayStation. Yes, it was popular on PlayStation 100%, but it first came out on PC. But essentially what I'm saying, it was a game published by Eidos, made by Crystal Dynamics.
Yep.
Vampire Gothic lore, had a really great lore and storytelling from a perspective as a single player game. It was one of the finest experiences you got on PlayStation back in the day.
The Soul Reaver title.
Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Those games. In fact, those two games were more popular than any other game in the Legacy of Kain series in general. But it took them 20-something years to bring it back. Let's talk about what we saw in the trailer. If it's enough of a remake for you to get excited, or you're sold just because it's a game you haven't played in like two decades and you're excited to pick it up. What's your thoughts?
I'm a big fan of Legacy of Kain, especially Soul Reaver. I really like Soul Reaver. I picked it up on the PlayStation when it came out, loved it, played it. I thought it had some cool ass boss fights because you couldn't just go in and beat the bosses. Some of them you had to use your brain to think. And then they came out with because when you said that, it's like I don't remember it doing that. I think it came out on PlayStation first, because when it came out on the Dreamcast, then they ported the Dreamcast to the PC because those both had higher resolutions than the PlayStation. Because one of the things I remember about that game is the PlayStation, when they were trying to figure out, there was no loading in it at all. Like you would be able to walk around, and they were trying to figure out how to spool from the CD to load. But I thought it was great. Legacy of Kain 2 came out on PlayStation 2, and that was the big time continuation. But what happened is that it was supposed to be one gigantic game, but of course they couldn't do it because the technology at the time. So they split it up into the two games. So this remaster that's coming out, I kind of want it, not because I really want to play it. That's not the big issue about really wanting to play. I mean, you're going to get 60 frames a second. You're going to get, whatever a high resolution is going to be set into. So it's going to play better, look better than it ever had looked. But it's essentially a PlayStation game on how it plays. I really wish they would have just remade the game
from the ground up.
Did what they wanted to do back in the 90s and make it like that one large story like they wanted to do. Because
basically Soul Reaver 1 and Soul Reaver 2 is one game, but it's a remake and not a remaster. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I want a remake and they're doing remaster, and that part is a little irritating, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna probably get it if they're trying to do test the waters. If they're trying to say, hey, you guys really want to remake, buy this, then hopefully I may pick up a copy, but I'm not getting it for PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4. I'm gonna get it on the Switch. I mean, because I'm sorry, I like the Switch for games that I feel are underpowered. That game is not deserving for a PlayStation 5. Just the remake that they would, if they were to come out with one, that to me would be, worthy of those two. That's not Switch, or maybe Switch 2. Switch 2 gonna be as powerful as PlayStation 4, and with Nintendo's know-how, it's probably gonna look fucking. Nintendo know how to pull out some shit with. They have the weakest fucking hardware and be making that shit look amazing, like all the time. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, I think I would. I would probably pick it up. Just as a fact, like I said, nostalgia and all that. But I kind of agree with Dido. I would prefer a remake than a remaster because, I mean, that's pretty much what every developer is doing right now, or every big company is doing right now. They're doing the exact same thing over and over again. They're remaking old games, but they're not listening to fans. They're just saying, "Oh yeah, this is what you want, but we need them dollars to make sure that it's there so we can actually make a new game." And that's the reason why we can't get any of these old games that we want. Savers like everyone wants a new Darkstalkers game, but they put and the thing is that pissed me off is like they released the actual, I guess that time was it the collection, but didn't say shit about it being released, and then no one really knew about it. They never marketed
You
it,
mean
so it
the
was like,
digital one?
yeah.
I bought it.
Well, I know
Yeah.
you bought it, but I didn't
Yeah.
know about it. I didn't know it was even out until they just like, oh yeah, it's out, but now you can't get it. It's like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
man?
I bought it on I think my PlayStation 3 or Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
That was a bad move on their part because they didn't like you said, they didn't market that very well. Then they're like, oh, nobody wanted it. I'm like, dude, you let people really like unless you were really into it and following all of the news about it, you didn't know when that dropped. Stuff like that gets on my nerves because it's kind of like they just really didn't want to do it. So it's like, okay, let's half-ass it and here.
So there's two trains of thought on that and on that part, right? So you could argue that the reason that they are doing the remake is because they're trying to gauge interest for new entries in the series, right? Seeing how the IP is like 20 years old, it's out of the consciousness of the current generation of gamers, maybe even the last two generations of gamers, if you think about it, going back to PS3. Then I can understand why they're deciding to do that. Because I too would rather have a remaster and even have a continuation or a reboot, much like Final Fantasy VII. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'm just happy we're getting more. Go ahead, man.
I think the whole thing though is like whether or not they're going to do a remake or a remaster. It really depends on the strength of the IP itself. Like the reason Final Fantasy VII finally got a remake after all this time is they had a tech demo that showed the possibility, and people have been banging on their doors for 20 years. They're like, "Would you give us this damn game?" And they finally did. I think with Legacy of Kain, it's like they would have been better off just like Dido said, doing that original vision and just introduce it like as a especially like as a teaser trailer of like this game looks amazing, this is awesome, what is this, and then boom, pull back it's Legacy of Kain. That was one thing they could have done because to your point about the IP being so old, you got a whole new generation of gamers that hadn't even experienced Legacy of Kain. So you could easily introduce that to a new generation with a really good looking game that's like maybe take some elements of some of the more popular IPs that are out there, and then the people that remember Legacy of Kain like, oh man, they're doing a new Legacy of Kain, so you get both audiences. I think the excuse of like, oh, we got to push this thing out there to see if there's interest, make it awesome to begin with, then that'll be your interest.
Here's the only bad thing, I guess, about getting a new Legacy of Kain, and then we'll move on to some of the other games they talked about, is that we won't have Tony J being the elder guy.
Oh yeah.
Unless they reuse all the audio. Oh no!
I'm saying if they did a new one. I'm saying if they did.
Get Clancy Brown.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
Clancy Brown has a great voice for those types of characters.
Yep. Yeah, he does 100%. All right, so what's some of the other games that you saw that out of the state of play that you thought that aren't Ghost of Yotei?
They did put out a new Dynasty Warriors, which I was like,
so what was that, Dynasty Warriors
Origin? Yeah, man, I watched. I had to like look at it, man. I was like, I was to see what it was.
You played one, you played them all.
I know Hannah Omega he just jizzed in his pants when he saw that.
The thing that's so funny about Dynasty Warriors for the longest time, especially with the life of the PlayStation, it was every time there was a new system, it was guaranteed to be a new Dynasty Warriors coming out. Either a new Dynasty Warriors and a new Ridge Racer. Those were the two guaranteed things of like, new PlayStation. Yeah, we about to get it on launch. We about to get a new Dynasty Warriors and a new Ridge Racer. Which I wouldn't mind seeing Ridge Racer make some type of comeback.
I think that would be dope if they would come back because Ridge Racer, what was it?
Not enough arcade racers.
There,
no
wait,
simulation.
there are. The problem again is back in the day, arcade racers were made by big name studios. That's not happening. I'm gonna take my headphones off and I'm gonna grab something real quick. I'm gonna see if any of you ever heard of this. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
You're stepping out over here. You continue without me.
Well, no,
no,
he is right because
yeah.
Ridge Racer was done by Bandai, and that was the only company that was put. Well, I would say only company because like PlayStation, Sony had their own racing simulator, and then Xbox came along with Forza, and that them two have just been going back and forth.
And there's nothing wrong with the Gran Turismo and Forza battle. That's fine. But I loved Burnout. Burnout was a fun racing
Burnout was,
man.
Dude, we would have fun. Dude, we spend like hours playing that one. What was the crash
mode?
Yeah, crash mode was dope.
Crash mode in Burnout was amazing. Like they're just, and again, I've seen videos about the history of Burnout and how it's changed and some of the different stuff. Yes, some of the newer versions suck, but it's because they got away from what made Burnout. So I mean, Dido is back. What you got there, sir?
All right, so this is an arcade racer. Okay. I haven't played it yet. Seen video of it. That's the reason why I buy it. Yeah, of course. Still in the packaging. Anybody ever heard of Hot Shot?
Yeah, I've heard of Hot Shot. Hot Shot.
This right here is arcade racing. It looks in the style of shit that came out in the early 90s, which is flat shaded polygons. And I think they made this game in the style of those Daytonas and virtual racings and ridge races.
Yeah,
but
Daytona.
Completely random ass thought. Just because I saw Hannah Omega talk about ain't there a new Crazy Taxi? Yo,
yeah, it leaked. If that was real video that I saw, I put it on my TikTok. Apparently, it was on Reddit where I saw it. They said it was it leaked of new Crazy Taxi, but I haven't seen anybody else.
My thing is right since taxis are practically non-extinct. Shouldn't it be Crazy Uber or some shit like that? Or Crazy Lyft or Crazy Ride?
Honestly, here's what they could do with that. And obviously they can't call it Uber, they can't call it Lyft. I mean, call them goobers and drift or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. But they should have you competing against Uber because that would be the crazy of Crazy Taxi. Outside of the fact that yes, you get points for driving against traffic and near misses and all that other sort of thing. There's a lot they could do with that, and I remember it's been almost 2 years I think since they made that announcement. There is supposed to be that new Crazy Taxi and some other games getting like good remasters or remakes or whatever.
Yeah, they are. They're redoing Golden Axe, Crazy Taxi, Shinobi, Streets of Rage.
Speaking of remasters, so there's also that Lunar complete collection remaster.
I'm getting that on the Switch. I'm not getting that.
Didn't they also say Jet Grind Radio was getting one too?
Yeah,
that's part of that collection. That's part of that collection that Dada was talking about. There's supposed to be a Sega remaster collection that's coming out. Yeah. That's part of it. So Lunar is a JRPG that I never really gravitated towards, although because it had anime parts in it, and it was when it came out, that was right around the time that my anime fandom started to really explode. It kind of had my interest, but I wasn't fully interested. Like Lunar, those types of games, they look like mobile games now to me.
Yeah, they do.
No,
I'm not even frank. They look like mobile games.
I'm gonna get it, but I've been meaning to play it because I have both of them on PlayStation. They came out on Sega CD, and those are the most expensive ones if you want to try to find those. But again, that's not PlayStation 5 for me. That's totally Switch.
Can we actually say that for BioWare, Dragon Age was the Veilguard? If this doesn't do well, they're pretty much fucked.
It could be. I don't know. I've never played any of the Dragon Age games, to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, no, in general, because like they've had so many flops and like really bad games that I mean, it's kind of like they're on their last leg, I believe, because the games that I grew up playing with from BioWare are pretty much like non-existent anymore. It's like you had the Mass Effect series, and then after that you had like the horrible Andromeda, and then that one game that came out that hurt my heart. I was looking forward to it. Anthem was like supposedly their golden goose for like looter shooters, but it just flopped, and they just totally abandoned the game. So I mean,
is it crazy that speaking of remasters, before I get too far, another remaster they talked about that they're doing is Horizon Zero Dawn, which to me is like the proper original game. No, the proper original game. Horizon Zero Dawn is being remastered, which is crazy to me to think that a game that is just one generation old is getting remastered.
That literally irritated the crap out of me because I have it on PlayStation 4. I haven't played it now. They're like, but it was like, oh, if you got $10, we'll just give you the PlayStation 5 version. If you got the PlayStation 5. I'm like,
exactly. Like, come on.
Iguana Man says they're making a new Mass Effect. I guess that would be the potential last straw for BioWare.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
If that fails.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, that's wild. So as far as games that you're super looking forward to, so I've never seen this before. So is this the first time we're getting a Hitman VR game?
Yep.
Like I'm like when I saw that, right? When I saw that on PSVR, I was like, oh wow.
I didn't want to look at it. I wanted to look at it, but I didn't. I just like, nah.
Why? Why?
I don't know. It's like I don't have I don't have a VR, and I'm not gonna buy one. But I just didn't.
Oh man. Okay. So do you get motion sickness like Dido does?
It's not even about motion sickness, man. It's just like for me, all VR games have the same fucking flavor. I don't care if it's a different game. You're in there, first person, and whatever you're doing. Most of it's something with guns. You don't. I mean, they all got the same fucking flavor, dude. It's just whatever. But at least, if you like it, by all means, keep playing it. I'll use VR one day when it comes out for reality porn.
But at least with this one, you're not just shooting. You are sniping. You can also poison.
Whatever, dude.
Food.
You can
use the
those
road.
Want to
if you want
have
to
fun, go ahead and play it. To me, it all smells the same. And
well, for me, it's just that. For me, it's like, man, I just watch Sword Art Online. They're not getting me. So that's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line.
Okay,
they're not getting me.
Yeah. So is there any okay, so also was there anything else that stood out to you before we talk about Ghost of Yotei?
Not for me, no.
Not really.
Oh wait, no. There was. Is that claymation game? I can't remember the name of it. I was looking it up.
So is it let's see, is it Towers of Aghashba? No,
I don't think.
No, that's not it. It must be. There was this one. It's called. I'm looking up the list right now.
Is it like
not Pal? The Midnight Walk?
No, definitely not Pal. I think it's Midnight Walk.
The Midnight Walk. Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's it. That game to me looks like it was interesting because first off, just the style of game. You haven't. When's the last time you've seen anything that's like claymation? Personally, I haven't seen any claymation style looking games that actually used claymation stuff, not try to look like it, but it's CG. Was Skull Monkeys on PlayStation 1. And that was a claymation like 2D platformer. Very pretty fun game. Haven't finished it. Don't technically own it. I got it. Wink, wink. On my Polymega, but it that looks interesting to me because it's not the same old. Because again, almost everything that came out, Monster Hunter, that Dragon Age game, and something else. I forget the name of it. It looked like it was like futuristic, but not futuristic. It was a person that had like a white sword or something like that, and it's just like they all kind of look similar to the point where it's just like, yeah, they look fun. They look like they'd be great.
Are you talking about
day one for me?
Hell Is Us? Because I'm looking at it right now.
I think that's it. Hell Is Us.
Yeah,
that game looked. It looked fun, but at the same time, it just yeah, buddy.
All right. So let's talk about the surprising reveal of Ghost of Tsushima sequel, Ghost of Yotei. The controversy surrounding there being a female samurai has already made its rounds on the internet. Ignore all that noise because it's always all the usual suspects crying about, stuff is woke and all this other kind of stuff. Completely ignoring reality. Female samurai did exist back in the day. This isn't the first time they've been depicted in any kind of form, any kind of media. It's literally it's literally just their ignorance on full display. But we talked also about how the PlayStation 5 Pro has nothing that, there's nothing to sell the system. Now they have something to sell the system.
Exactly.
Some people.
Because for some people, because for me, Ghost of Tsushima was a reason that I upgraded to a PS4 Pro. Or PS5, excuse me, the PS5. That was like the number one impetus. And history is going to repeat itself with Ghost of Tsushima too, because this can move the system for me. As visually beautiful as Ghost of Tsushima was, Ghost of Yotei looks that to the next level. It looks beautiful. I can't wait to play it. It looks fantastic. What's your guys' thoughts on it?
I still haven't played Ghost of Tsushima because I've been waiting for it to drop in price. Look, bro, I just bought 2 games today. I paid $60 for it. That's what I like to do. I don't like playing one game $60. I like getting 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 games $60. Ghost of Tsushima hasn't dropped the price where I want it yet. Now, Christmas is coming up, and I do have birthdays. And if I don't get it for there, I'll just wait till it drops. Got out of the game.
So
still in the plastic.
Okay.
It's not really high priority because they're selling millions. They're going to be around. It's not like I'm going to miss out on it.
You keep on going. I'm going price shopping, and I'm going to find out exactly what is your sweet spot.
My
for price
sweet spot now, because games are $70. It used to be $20. When the shit hit $20, you usually buy it right away. Even though sometimes it hit $20, and a few months later, it's under $20. I think it was the Prince of Persia. I wish I could grab it. I can't reach it over.
But your thing is to get the the complete collection of director's cut. That's your
this is new. Just came out, if I remember correctly, this year. I got it. I think it was about $20. I just saw it for $15 now. A little bit upset with that, but regardless of that, I don't want to buy it new. This came out. It was probably $60, and then they dropped it so fucking fast. And everybody who pays $60 for it, that's them. I don't want to pay $60 for it. And I'm not going to say it's all or nothing. There are games that I probably will purchase day one, but it's very few. Now, most of the games that I want to get day one, like the new Zelda that's coming out, it's a $60 game. I got it for $40 because cheap gamers. So I don't know, dude. Like, so Ghost of Yotei looks great. And I'll get it when it becomes the price point that I like. After I play Ghost of Tsushima, I still got fucking Yakuza to finish playing.
You getting the Pirates one, man?
Hell yeah, I'm getting Pirates one when it goes down, because that's another thing. One of the games that I got was Like a Dragon, because they changed the name Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. And that bitch was like $20. I think it was $25. And that's a PlayStation 5 game that just came out this year. I'm not paying full price for it. I'm not doing it.
All right, that's fair. To Iguana Man's point, he's saying Wolverine and GTA 6 were going to need the PS5 Pro anyway, just based on what you're going to need for performance for those games to look their best. So I think the PS5 Pro, if they have a couple of more AAA titles that are going to truly take advantage of the little bit of power boost that it gives, then it might be worth getting. But as it stands right now, there's only 1 or 2 games maybe that are worth the upgrade. For me, GTA 6 is definitely one of them. If this Wolverine game looks insanely good on the PS5 Pro versus just the regular PS5, then fine. But yeah.
Now, is it worth the upgrade or worth waiting for the PlayStation 6?
I think GTA 6 is going to be a system seller for a lot of people.
Yes. Yeah.
And GTA is one of those games I really don't want to wait on. Now, granted, we've had GTA 5 since the PlayStation 3. which is insane to even think that that's how that's been this long for that system, for that game rather to still be popular. But for me, GTA 6 is a day one buy because I don't want to get into that situation of everybody is spoiling everything about that game everywhere you turn around. Because that's one thing GTA 5 had the advantage of social media and all that wasn't what it is now back then. So you could play the game at kind of at your own pace and get it, and when people weren't spoiling the entire story and all this. Now, everywhere you look, there's going to be GTA 6 spoilers as soon as that game drops.
I still need to beat GTA 4.
Oh yeah,
you still need to beat 4.
Yeah.
Hey.
4. Remember when I had my stickers back there and I was running through those games? Well, there's still 3 more stickers up there, and GTA 4 is one of them.
4 was actually really good.
Yeah.
4 is actually really, really good. 5 is just so much bigger that it's like you can't really compare the two because it's not a fair comparison. 4 takes place in like New York, basically.
Liberty City.
Liberty City
again. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 takes place basically in California, not just a little bit of part of like like
it's like
LA
how San Andreas
basically.
was.
No, San Andreas.
No. Hold up. Let me clarify what I'm saying, because San Andreas had the LA area. It also had like the countryside area, and it also had like Vegas area. So what I mean by that, not exactly, it's just more than one area. Because San Andreas is the biggest one at the time.
Yeah. San Andreas is big, but 5 dwarfs it.
Trumps
because
it.
obviously,
I believe it.
obviously because of again, better system, blah blah blah. But as far as the spanning of area, 5 is insane. So I can't even imagine what they're going to do for 6. 6 is going to be.
Are they going back to Vice City?
I think so. So it's probably going to be like a Florida thing,
Miami thing.
Yeah. So it's
Florida.
Yeah, it's going to be all of Florida basically.
Yeah,
You're driving around for hours to get from one place to another. Hand of Omega, is the world ready for GTA Detroit? No,
I don't know.
So first of all, here's the problem with GTA Detroit. Detroit is actively trying to shed that image. So,
it's been for some time because people literally still afraid. You say, "Oh, you're from Detroit," and they just no matter where you're in the country, you could be in some of the
Iguana's right.
Like,
Iguana's right that Detroit is too small.
Yeah, relatively speaking.
But GTA Detroit, not only is Detroit trying to shed that image, but just based off of how people view Detroit after the NFL draft this past summer, that notion of Detroit being crime ridden is rapidly going away. Rapidly going away.
Yeah, they have definitely getting to the point of shedding that image. I mean, granted, like you guys said, most people when they hear Detroit outside of this particular state, they get all scared and worried. But yeah, I mean, really, realistically, the only thing you would be able to do with a GTA Detroit is you'd have to add Windsor into it. And that's that in and of itself is like, bro, you've already like gone super squeaky clean now, so you really
man,
really can't do nothing with that. But if you look back though, Midnight Club 3 had Detroit as one of the cities you would drive around.
You could drive through.
Yeah, and they did a pretty decent recreation of what it was in Detroit. I mean, again, Detroit, within what you're going to get out of Arcade Racer,
right?
Wait, don't forget about Detroit Become Human. That was pretty cool.
True, but that was a futuristic.
I need to play that.
Yeah, that was like a futuristic.
Basically, they're telling us we're gonna be the manufacturers of androids now.
Yeah, I wonder how that RoboCop came. Because I have that RoboCop game. I haven't started playing it yet. I wonder if that because again, it's futuristic Detroit, but I mean, I wonder how they handled Detroit in that game if they even bothered.
I'm pretty sure that they didn't bother because they didn't bother in the friggin' movies.
I like that, Sharita. She said GTA 313. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a nice little cool. Nickname. I like that. Speaking of RoboCop, so this is as an aside, and we're transitioning to other stuff because the whole conversation surrounding the controversy on Ghost of Yotei is a tired conversation. I don't even want to have it. I'm sure you guys don't either.
Nope.
It's not
I want them to shut the fuck up. I'm
Me
so
too.
tired of hearing about that bullshit. Play the fucking game. Shut the fuck up. You don't want to play the game?
Then don't play the game. Yeah, then don't play the game.
So tired.
So speaking of RoboCop, so apparently there is a Amazon Studios project for a RoboCop TV show produced by James Wan.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is in development. How likely or how accepted that thing would be, I don't know. We'll have to see. But that RoboCop game that you're talking about, GQ, it looked pretty interesting. Definitely, I think definitely worth a playthrough for those of us who love RoboCop or grew up with RoboCop, have an affinity for the character. So I think it's worth it. But transitioning to something else before we get out of here, obviously the other thing that came out in the past couple of days was the Thunderbolts trailer. The next Marvel Studios movie starring Yelena and Bucky the Winter Soldier, and US Agent and Ghost and Taskmaster finally came out. We all got to see it. What's your thoughts of where we think this thing is going as a premise, and what did you guys think of? Even though we really didn't see nothing, what did we think of Bob, aka the Sentry?
Oh, that's the Sentry. That's the replacement because they replaced what's my man's name?
The Sentry?
Oh,
The guy that
Stephen
played
Yeun.
Glenn.
Stephen
Yeah,
Yeun.
Stephen
Yeah.
Yeun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks for him. I think it's gonna be interesting. I hope it has not as much of a comedic tone because personally, maybe the new Captain America is gonna have the Winter Soldier type tone, but and this one I don't know if how much. I mean, I look forward to seeing it.
I guess it kind of reminds me of Suicide Squad ish vibes.
I can see that parallel. I can see
In
that
a way,
parallel.
yeah.
I mean, that's technically what they were. I mean, the original Thunderbolts were villains.
Yeah,
but,
I can see that. But and GQ, you share your thoughts on the trailer, what you thought of it, and the.
I mean, if you look at the roster, 90% of them are villains. I mean, obviously, villains that are doing heroic things. Because I mean, Yelena looks like she's still working as an assassin.
Yeah.
Ghost is still an assassin,
Mm-hmm.
which is, it's like I remember Ant-Man 2 being the whole thing about freeing her from working with S.H.I.E.L.D. as an assassin. Now she's basically back to being an assassin. Taskmaster's always been an assassin, and then Bucky, he spent an entire show trying to break free of being an assassin.
Being an assassin,
so it's
yes.
it's like the whole squad is like hired killers, basically, which is fine. I have no problem with that, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
But then when you said the Sentries in it, that kind of like don't mix because this dude literally is a god.
So, and I hear you, right? So here's what I gleaned from. There's a couple things I gleaned from the trailer and based off of what I saw and what was said in it. Right. Number one, Yelena's looking for some kind of purpose after what happened in Hawkeye, where she was kind of driven to find Clint and wanted to kill him, and she made peace with it. She's kind of been rudderless ever since because Natasha's gone. She doesn't know where her place is in the world. So she kind of threw herself into work. She wanted to reconnect with her adopted father, Red Guardian, and figure out what's going on with him. I guess she was given a mission, probably by Valentina, aka the Contessa, aka played by Julie Louis-Dreyfus, who looks like is the one who purchased Avengers Tower. If we're being 100%, that scene where at the end of the trailer looked a hell of a lot like that great room that the Avengers were partying in Avengers Tower. Just saying. So, my belief is that, like Yelena said in there, all of these people have done bad things. Walker's disgraced former Captain America agent. Ghost is an assassin that has done dirty work probably for the government. Same thing for Yelena. Same thing for Taskmaster. All these people that probably know a lot of things that they want to keep quiet. Yelena's saying they're pitting us against each other, put us in a room. They're trying to get rid of us. Someone wants us gone, right? How and why did they end up where the Sentry was? Well, my belief is they were all sent there, like Simon said, on a suicide mission, because everybody that knows the Sentry knows that he has a very dark other half known as the Void, who could wipe them all out without half of a thought. So
but here's my question though. We've known in the past that the MCU has watered down some of the strongest characters. So are we going to get a watered down version of the Century? Because we're probably not going to get the Void. I'm just saying.
So I don't know. You saw that one scene in the trailer where he was face down with some of the guards, and you saw the holes in his clothing, and he didn't have a mark on him. So we'll have to see what happens with it. Like, okay, the Sentry we know is, got the power of a million exploding suns, or however the phrase goes.
Yep.
Is he going to transform into something else, or is he just going to look like that? Because if he just looks like that, I'm going to be kind of disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I'd be a little disappointed.
He'll probably transform into something else, but then you run into that same situation that you always run into with trying to translate the comic book version of somebody to a film. If he has that much power, nobody on the squad should be able to handle him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And that's always the issue. Like, even if you look back at the Suicide Squad movie, Enchantress could have killed everybody in that squad with no problem.
Mm-hmm. Instead, we get the
so
whatever funny belly shaking dance moves that they have.
Right. So it's like they have the problem is they're dealing with characters that are so ridiculously overpowered that it's not even sensible to put them in the same room trying to battle or in this and that. So they have to do something.
What did Nick say? We're battling people we can't even fight against.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Minority Games are saying, what if Sentry is the villain in the movie, which is possible. Who knows?
Very possible.
Omega brings up why isn't Ghost dead? Because there probably will be explained, but they do have a cure for her. They just need quantum energy to just basically siphon into her, I guess. But who knows? Maybe at some point she got enough and she's good now, but she can still use her power.
Yeah.
So we'll I'm sure that will be answered. Possibly. Plus, the actress that plays her is really attractive. So
very attractive. Very attractive. Yeah, got to see her face when
Hannah Omega, that Blue Marvel thing. I don't know if that's going to work because if you read the book, that's kind of I don't know about that.
We'll see.
A lot of controversy in that.
So okay, now the question begs, right? Because you know how we are as the culture junkies. We don't like watching too many trailers, but in the case of this, do you feel like you need to see another trailer or would like to see another trailer?
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need to see another one. What I liked about this one is they gave you more questions than answers.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's what a trailer is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you question, like, why is this? Why is that? See the movie and find out. That's the whole purpose of a trailer. Not, oh, okay, here's this and here's exactly this. Here's this one whole scene that you can watch, and then now you can piece all this stuff together. It's like, no, don't do that. Just give me a date, a name, and boom, let's go. That's all I really need.
I heard that. Simon says, what do you think? You want to see another? Or are you good?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, like I said, if they do another trailer, they're probably going to spoil something anyways.
Yeah. Here's the only thing I want. The only thing I want is, what in the hell is that asterisk at the end of the Thunderbolts?
Let's watch the movie and find out.
Yeah.
Don't tell, like I said, like GQ said, man, I am a fan of 70s, 80s, and some 90s trailers because they don't tell you shit. They don't. In a world when a guy picks up grape juice from a corner store.
Yep.
Why do you pick up your grape juice? Watch the movie and find out. Now they're trying to tell a story in the trailer. Like, I don't need all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's always been the issue with it. Now, for example, the Infinity War trailer, I love that because that was hype. That got you ready for it. It wasn't a matter of, because you already knew what was going to happen. You knew Thanos was going to come in there and wreck shop. You knew that was coming. So the little bit tidbits they gave you here and there were like, okay, we don't know when that happens. You just know it's going to happen. And I was looking forward to it. And they hid how many gems he actually had in the trailer anyway. So there's all of that sort of stuff. Is like, that just works. I'm glad, go back to that style of trailers and teasers and whatnot.
So, okay.
Lie to me.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The weirdest thing is going on with my camera. It's starting to like completely glitch out.
Looks like Mandarin taking over.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on right now.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's totally weird. Like, it's totally glitching out. I don't know what the hell is going on, but that's a pretty neat effect. I'm not doing it on purpose. I promise.
Right. Last couple of minutes. Let's see. What do y'all think of Heihachi coming back to? Whatever. Heihachi's always been a fun character, in my opinion. I've always enjoyed using Heihachi in Tekken. Tekken 8 is honestly the weakest entry, in my opinion, as far as the Tekkens. It looks amazing, but from a gameplay standpoint, it's not all as fun as 7 was for me personally. I think one other thing to touch on, I think Dido and I both are the only two that have watched it, were Agatha All Along and Penguin.
Yeah.
Some people are complaining about Agatha All Along. I'm like, I don't know what y'all are complaining about. I like what I'm seeing so far. Like the show itself is fun. Aubrey Plaza is great to look at, so I have no problem with her being on the show. But I like the fact that I don't really know what's going on as far as where they're going with this, and I like that. I don't want to. Oh, I've read this already, so I know exactly what they're about. It's like, no, give me something that take me on a journey, and that's exactly what they're setting up, at least from what I've seen from the end of the second episode. And then going to Penguin real quick, and then obviously, Dido, you'll tell your thoughts. Penguin is really interesting because I was worried about how are you going to do a damn Batman story in the Batman universe with no Batman, because this literally picks up right after the Batman film leaves off. And it's the story they're telling is really cool to me. So that was your thoughts on both of those.
I agree with you on Agatha. I don't know what's going on. Preem apparently got some things spoiled from him because he looked at a Funko Pop in the back of the Funko Pop. Spoiled the living shit out of stuff.
Yeah,
and
they
apparently,
do.
Apparently 2 characters are who you don't really know who they are, and it did. But the Penguin, man, okay, so the Batman was rated PG-13. The Penguin is rated R.
Yeah.
There's fucking nudity in it. I mean, they're dropping F-bombs. It's everything I want in a crime drama so far. And I think this is what they were trying to intend on doing with Gotham. And personally, I think Gotham should have been a police procedural. It shouldn't have revolved around any of the villains. It should have been around Jim Gordon primarily. And I think it tried to be around Jim Gordon, but it kind of shifted over to the villains, and the Batman characters and people popping up that shouldn't be popping up. That's why Gotham's over there for me. But so far, that first episode of Penguin. Now, I don't read the comic books as much as you guys do. I've stated that, and I will state that every single episode where I need to. But I do see little tidbits here and there, and I found out that the Penguin is extremely what's the word? Conniving. He knows.
Yeah.
100%.
Comic books explain, I think it was him, talked about how somebody bumped into him and then, laughed at him or something like that till he realized who it was. And that motherfucker ruined his fucking life.
Oh, yeah.
And this Penguin is showing a little bit of that stuff. The motherfucker, if you watch the show, something happens because somebody made fun of the Penguin, and it just starts spiraling to, you can see this guy, he's on his way to try to take over Gotham.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I look forward to seeing that shit because
I'm with it.
Wow.
So out of the chat, real quick, is his name Oswald Cobblepot? So I have an issue, right?
It's Oswald Cobb. Oz is his nickname.
Look,
and go ahead with your issue.
Look,
because I know you got an issue with it.
So my issue has always been when directors or showrunners find stupid, nitpicky little reasons to try and quote unquote ground the show in realism, right? changing his name from Oswald to Oz as a nickname, that's fine. Not a problem. If he's embarrassed of his family name as being Cobblepot, that's cool too. But under no circumstance should he be allowed to say, I am not Oswald Cobblepot.
He doesn't say that.
That's who he, but what my problem is the director goes out and says, yeah, no, we changed his name from Oswald Cobblepot to Oz Cobb. Like, no, if he had just said, hey, we just shortened the name to Oz to Oz because, you know, he's trying to be a gangster, he's trying to fit in. Oz rolls off the tongue better. I'm good. Yeah. I'm totally good with that. Not a problem. Go ahead, GQ. You were about to say something.
Real quick though, and this again, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that hasn't seen it. They've moved away from the Penguin is his family is wealthy aspect of the thing, which truly to me works for the story they're telling, because it's like, okay, for example, if you were like some, you know, gangster or whatever in the neighborhood and you had a weird name like Oswald Cobblepot, you wouldn't embrace Oswald Cobblepot until that name really had power behind it. Because it's a goofy name. Let's be 100% on that. It's a goofy
100%,
name, no matter 100%. What. But once you get to the point of you're the Penguin and people fear you and respect you and all this stuff, then you can be whatever. You throw your real name out there all day long. But with him being like, you know, at the time, the second in, not even so much second in command, he was just what's my man?
Like a lieutenant.
Thank you. He was a lieutenant. Yeah, he was a lieutenant to Falcone. So it's like he doesn't have that stroke to be able to be like, no, man, I'm Oswald Cobblepot. Fear me, because he doesn't have that yet. He's not there yet. I think there's going to come a point, depending on how long this series is going to run, where it's like he does become the, you know, because again, he runs the Iceberg Lounge, but they in this they're like, nah, bro. Falcone just let you say that you ran it. He still ran it because he's the man. He's the one in charge. Penguin is not the Penguin that we know yet. He's working his way towards that. So I don't really mind the whole thing with the name, because it's like, as of right now, his real name has no power anyway.
I heard that
he's not rich. His family, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have money like that. They're going the direction of very much like the Arkham games. This dude's a ruthless gangster. He's not about trying to be that top hat wearing, running for mayor. He ain't dude. Gangster.
He is a fucking ruthless gangster.
Which I am all 100% cool with. I disagree with the execution. Like, even story wise, you could have made it that his family used to be wealthy and has basically fallen completely off, and they have nothing, and he's building himself up from the ground up and basically regaining what he thinks is his birthright, which is
I get that, but the thing is, his family being wealthy doesn't really do his, especially the way they're telling it here, it wouldn't do his family his character any favors.
No,
it really works for him being from basically nothing, because that makes him more dangerous. That makes him more ruthless, because everything he gets, he holds on to it like this. So it's like, nah, don't mess with any of my stuff, because I will kill you. That's what his character is like. And I like that version of him.
Yes,
versus what we all the campy 60s show with the top hat and the cigar hold. Nah, dude, all that is done. That is done. This version of him is really, really well done.
Okay,
so,
like,
you got
to watch that first episode, bro.
I will,
hard, bro.
I will 100%. So real quick before we get out of here, there was a question I highlighted that we didn't get to because we went off into another tangent. It came from Mustafsky, and a new viewer to the channel. I think it might be his first comment. But he said, did anyone here play Silent Hill 2? What about the remaster that they announced at State of Play? Just not satisfied from the trailer. Did anybody play Silent Hill 2? And what'd you think of the remaster?
I think I might have played it back in the day. I don't remember. I got it sitting over there, and I wanna get the new one. I do. I really would like to get the new one.
Okay, so like, was it interesting enough? Like, because we know there's been a lot of newer age horror games, even some that were presented in the State of Play. Did it just seem like a regurgitation of the original Silent Hill 2? or did it feel like they upped the ante a little bit and made things a little bit different?
You know, it's weird. I watched a 50-minute video of the state of play. I don't recall them showing Silent Hill, the one I watched.
Yeah,
and it was on Sony's fucking YouTube. I don't remember seeing something.
I think they had talked about how the fog or something didn't look quite as good in the Silent Hill 2 remaster trailer.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
And plus, that was always a joke with one thing. They tried to do a Silent Hill 2 remaster and they got rid of the fog. And then it was the whole thing was the fog was hiding assets that weren't finished. So when they tried to do a remaster, they just basically got rid of the fog, not realizing that the fog was the technique to stop stuff from showing up when it wasn't rendered, basically.
Right.
So I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the show for today. Want to thank everybody for coming out and joining us and spending time right here on Culture Junkies Live. We'll be back next week with another great episode. If you would like to, please come to our Facebook fan group, and you can converse with us more on there on topics of video games, wrestling, and anime, and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff that we talk about. It is a safe space. There's no woke politics or anything like that in there. Come in and talk with reasonably minded people. I promise you, you will have a good time. We'll take care of you there. So for my friends, the great Atakuji, Simon Says, and GQ, I'm Kishiro. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.
Yep. Hand over Mega saying go see Transformers 1.
Yeah, surprisingly, it did not win the weekend, and it's not doing too well despite getting rave reviews. Guys, go and see it.